Neighbor caught on camera destroying my trees. I plan to confront her and handle the situation before resorting to police involvement. I live in Virginia in a neighborhood without an homeowner association or HOA. I bought my house a couple of years ago and there were 0 large trees in the yard. All of my neighbors have very landscaped yards. My house needed renovation, so I haven't done much in the yard other than plant some trees so they had time to get established. In the 2 years I've lived here, I've planted 7 trees in the front yard. 4 of the trees I have planted have been eastern redbud saplings on either side of my driveway. The first pair died over the first winter I was here and then I planted the second pair this past fall. The most recent pair survived. One was absolutely thriving and the other was struggling but had growth. Between the trees and my neighbor's property is my mailbox and the trees have mulch rings. I say these things because it's not like there's a question of whose property the trees were on or did they look dead, and did the neighbor think they were doing me a favor by removing yard debris. 3 weeks ago, I went out to check the mail and the one closest to my neighbor's yard was missing. There wasn't a sapling laying on the ground so it wasn't like an animal chewed it at the base and it fell over. The entire thing was gone but the mulch wasn't disturbed. I even dug into the mulch to try to find the root ball because it was so weird. No root ball. My partner and I couldn't remember the last time we had seen it and we had friends in town helping with the renovations so it went out of our mind as a weird thing. Partner was convinced it was an animal. I was convinced someone stole my tree. Tonight, I went out to take the garbage to the road and, lo and behold, the second redbud is missing. I look around for it, in case it's on the ground and it's not there. Mulch isn't disturbed. Exact same situation as the other one. So I dig down too, try to find the root ball and there isn't one. It's only 4 feet tall, so not like there'd be a big one to begin with. I call my partner and let them know. They've been out of town but mentioned when they left Wednesday morning, they remember checking on the tree. So I go to the video footage. It was there the morning of the first and the morning of the second. The morning of the third, hard to tell. It might be there. It might not. I go through more video from Friday and confirm the tree is not there. So I go back to the second and I start going through the video and around 7 p.m., I get my answer. I see my neighbor walk onto my property, carrying yard debris from her yard. She's looking around, and then walks up to the tree, rips it out of the ground, and walks back off to her property snapping the tree in half a couple of times as she goes. If I had to guess, she was carrying the yard debris as a cover. I thought it was yard debris and I was just trying to help. I went back to check to see if I have her on video doing the same thing to the first tree, but the video doesn't go back that far unless you specifically save the video, which I didn't think to do. If I were a gambler, I'd put money on the fact that she did the same thing to the first tree. I know tree law in VA states that if the trees are on your side you can trim them as long as you don't do it to a point where you kill them, but these trees were very much on my property. The one that she killed recently, it was literally the tree, my driveway, a small stretch of yard, where the first tree was that went missing, my mailbox, and then the neighbor's yard. What is standard procedure here on addressing this with a neighbor? I don't want to get police involved for destruction of property, but at the same time, who comes onto someone's property and rips their trees out of the ground? Unrelated, my relationship with this neighbor has always been wonderful. Like I bake them pies and they give me things from their garden. We bring in packages for each other when FedEx inevitably delivers them to the wrong house. There was a windstorm in March that blew a tree from their neighbor's yard, 2 houses down from me, into their yard, and I went out with my chainsaw to help cut it up so it didn't just sit. So this has gathered far more comments than I expected, but I figured there were a couple of things that needed to be addressed. First, the video. The video is safe. I have a copy on my phone, personal laptop, work laptop, and have sent it to many friends because it's such a batshit situation. We have copies should I need to use it. Second, tree proximity to property line. Because I was curious, I went out with my handy dandy tape measure to check to see how far the trees were planted from the line. The first tree that was yoinked 3 weeks ago was 6 feet from the property line. The second tree that was pulled a few days ago was 22 feet 3 inches from the property line. The only one arguably close to the property line was the first one, 6 feet from the line, and honestly, if she had come to me with a concern about it, I probably would have agreed to move it in the fall when it went dormant and it was safe to do so. Instead she chose tree violence. Third, the plan. Because my partner travels a lot, we both own our houses, so neither of us are going anywhere, and because I want to make sure she doesn't retaliate against the other 9 baby trees in my backyard, that's fenced in, or my dog, I've decided to take you/Kemperflow's advice to an extent. Basically I'm going to tell them someone vandalized and stole property out of my yard and that I'm going to be going through the video from one of the cameras in the next couple of days and this camera points at the area of the trees. I'm going to ask them if they've had anyone vandalize or steal their property in the last week or so. Basically giving them the opportunity to fess up and give me whatever lie they come up with on the spot as to why she destroyed the trees. If she owns up to it, I'll ask her to buy me new trees to make it right and then tell her she should not come onto my property and do something like this again without my permission. If she doesn't, in a few days I'll go back with a video and give her another opportunity to make it right. At that point if she still doesn't, then I'll report her for theft and destruction of property and have her trespassed. Because we're not going anywhere anytime soon, I don't want to go completely nuclear in the first round. Hopefully it doesn't get to last bit. Fourth, she is an avid gardener. She has trees lining the back of her property, Trees on the property line she shares with me, close to where the Redbud massacre of 2024 occurred, a vegetable garden, so many rows and phlox bushes I've lost count, and recently added some new low shrubs near the trees on the back of her property. Her yard is very curated with many shrubs, trees, and flowers, both deciduous and evergreen. While I could be wrong, I don't think her removing the trees had to do with her being concerned about their leaves. If she were, she'd probably take down one of the two 60-year-old maple trees in her backyard. Update 1: Today I worked from my closet because it has a window that just so happens to overlook my neighbor's garden, and her car was in her driveway, so I knew she was home. Around 1 p.m. she made an appearance, so I went out to check the mail. I waved to her with a big smile and said hello. She said hello and we exchanged minor pleasantries. And then I segued into asking, "Oh hey, have you guys noticed if you've had anything stolen or vandalized in your yard?" "Oh no. Not at all." "I'm glad to hear it. I've had 2 trees taken from my yard over the last 3 weeks." "What do you mean taken from your yard?" "Well, the 2 redbuds I had at the end of the driveway, they were saplings, and one was by the mailbox and the other was by the lamp post. The first disappeared about 3 weeks ago and the second one disappeared sometime after Wednesday last week." "No, we haven't had anything like that happen." "That's great." "Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm going to check one of the cameras I have on the property in the next couple of days. It's pointed at the driveway, so it gets clear views of the trees and we'll be able to see what happened. Hopefully it's just animals or something, because if someone came onto my property and stole them, I'm going to have to get the police involved for theft." If I didn't have her attention before, I definitely had it at the last bit, because she started asking more clarifying questions about these missing trees. "What kind of trees did you say? And where were they? How big were they?" I answer all of her questions and add on that it sucks because I bought these trees and they had been planted since fall, but yeah, I guess we will find out what happened in a few days when I have an opportunity to check the video. And that's about the time she says, "Oh, that might have been me. I think I thought they were weeds." For the record, no, I do not believe she mistook 2 4-foot saplings for weeds. I let her know that if that's the case, I would like her to replace them. To which she replies that she's not sure, but it might have been. I reassured her that it's okay if she doesn't know. We can wait to resolve this until I view the video, because I absolutely do not want her to pay for replacements if she's not responsible. Y'all. She absolutely did not want me to go to the video. She asked me what kind of trees again, and I told her. She said that if I told her how much they were, she'd pay me back. And I said, "Are you sure you don't want to wait to check the video?" No. I'll take care of it. Just let me know." I pulled my phone up and found comparable redbuds online, and we calculated the total that she would owe together. She went inside and gave me cash to get replacements for the redbuds. We stood and chatted for a couple more minutes, but I did reiterate that she needed to talk with me before doing something like this in the future, and if she sees some weeds that she thinks needs to be pulled on my property, to let me know, because it isn't fair or right for her to bear the burden of weeding my yard.